to learn to all get along, as the joke goes now, but it may be quite true.
Now, this privacy issue is scary for children. How do you address that, and do you address that in your novel?
I don't actually, but it extends. It extends into that world. You know, I have a 6-year-old who, you know, has now gone beyond me with some of these, you know, car racing games online, and he's teaching himself, which is really, this is a very amazing thing to me, how quickly him and his peers are teaching themselves. So it's going to be up to parents to keep educating themselves and stay ahead of their children's curves, which is impossible, quite frankly. In my case, I have engineers who can help me. I'll be implanting chips into the arms of my children, really. But I'll be trying to keep up with them. But inevitably, the children are going to learn their way all around this technology and run circles around the parents. And it will be an issue because you can't hide things from the kids anymore. They're exposed to, frankly, you might also say too much. And it's about just really helping them understand the world around them and staying close to them, because you're not going to keep anything from them any longer.
And we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier on radio, but the technology expanding so quickly, was it kind of a challenge for you to kind of fictionalize this and maybe add you know, the dramatic twist in your novel? As technology increases so quickly, it probably is already happening, maybe what you imagine already.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I felt I had better get this novel out there quickly before it becomes obsolete. Because the more research, it is fiction, but it's researched based on. I researched the technology that I use in the book, open source intelligence, and parallel processing. This is all real things that you could tinker and conceivably put together and actually make what it is that the characters have made in this book. I turn it into sort of a, if you remember 3 Days of the Condor, where Robert Redford's being chased. You know, this young fellow has the only prototype in his ear, and he is the expert on everything, because anytime he asks a question about anybody or asks the technology called Wallace to comment on something, he is the instant master of that information. And so he has to kind of outwit those who are chasing him by using this ability of his to be the expert on everything. The technology is racing pretty quickly toward what it is my imagination put down on paper. I have to admit, we are going to move into a world where privacy, the world's going to be very, very transparent. And there's two schools of thought. Either this will keep all of the multinational organizations and government in line, because it will be more transparent and there will be less to hide behind. Everybody's laundry, as I say, will be out there. Or we have to be careful, and this is an issue of trusting ourselves. You know, what do we do with this power? And this is power. Do we turn it against those who don't think like we do? You know, do we become fascist ourselves? And so I think this is something that we're going to have to be very, very careful of, how we manage power and how we not abuse power. I think this country can trust itself. We've done so far so well, and on that regard, I personally think that if one day privacy should actually cease to exist, we as a nation will, you know, the power ultimately comes from the bottom up in this country, even though it doesn't seem that way at times. And I think that we will have the collective common sense to know when to not read each other's mail, literally.
Where does the technology go, though, Edward? It seems like how much further can it go? But I guess they've been saying that for hundreds of years. How far the technology can go? What do you see down maybe 50 years from now? What can be done?
Well, I'll tell you what I see 5 years from now, and frankly, it might even exist now, and we're just unaware of it. From some of my research, I understand that the government agencies have been combining, you know, the NSA's internal data warehouses with the other information that they have collected from private companies who and their own data warehouses, and they have applied what's called social networking software. This is MySpace and all the social networks that we're all learning more about here. And the algorithms that enable them to do extremely deep data mining can tell everything about a person, from, you know, what kind of socks you bought the last time you went out to buy socks, to what is it that you're reading, where exactly is your money going, to whom. It can really dissect a person, and you can find out anything. The want about someone. And I think that's 5 years down the road. A lot of money is being sent into this area by the government, a big business now, security technology companies, because our country, frankly, is at threat from bad actors out there. And you can't close the borders. We won't close the borders, philosophically or actually. So we're actually on our way to trying to make from a law enforcement point of view, the country as transparent as it can be, so you can kind of find the guys and get them, the bad guys, before they do what it is they think they want to do. Now, again, where do you draw the line?
Edward, we're up against the break right now. Sure, the book available on all the book sites. I know you have your own website, right?
Yes, you can find it at Amazon, as well as my website is theexpertoneverything.com. It's all laid out there with chapters to read as well. It's
a fascinating topic, and one that, like you said, makes for a dramatic storyline, but also something to think about with all the technology that is available. Edward David Gil, thanks for joining us tonight, and we look forward to talking again down the road sometime.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Edward David Gil, our guest on the program. We'll take a short break right now. Be right back, and it's all about health. And welcome back to It's All About Health. Doug Miles sitting in for Rochelle Herman tonight. Robyn Lynn, our guest co-host. I'm a guest fill-in host tonight, and Robyn and I were just talking during the break there. Interesting topic we just talked about with Edward David Gil about identity theft and the technology, and I just touched on it briefly not too long ago at work, where we suspect somebody got into one of our computer files and erased some files. So it's a scary situation when you're dealing with computers nowadays, and you never quite know who's watching or who's looking at what you're doing at work. It can be a little scary.
It is kind of scary. I mean, anybody can be a victim of identity theft, which is scary, and everybody's banking on their computers now, where you can get any record of anyone out there. So especially with children and the whole technology of MySpace that has been taking off, which is scary for security for children.
Yeah, that whole MySpace thing, and I've been on a couple of times just to look around it. You got to wonder how safe is that? I mean, if you have a little kid on it, I mean, adults should know, enough to not put information on there that's, can trace you. But I mean, little kids, who knows if they get on there, what's going to happen, right?
Right.
A little scary to deal with, but. And as I mentioned before, too, you did a presentation recently, or part of one, where identity theft was the topic. And like I mentioned before to Edward, a few months ago, I had a situation where somebody actually hacked into my bank account, transferred money. Which is scary. Yeah. And how did you catch them? And did you just keep record of all your accounts? Yeah, I just happen to check it every day anyway, just to make sure, check got deposited, that kind of thing, or checks cleared. But I noticed there was a certain amount that was transferred that I didn't move. It was from a credit card account to a checking account. So it's a scary thing when you think of it, what technology can do and what people can find out about you. So interesting book. We'll have to hopefully turn into a movie sometime. It is. You could play the lead character. Ooh. It's a guy in the book, but they can make it a woman. Or Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas. It's a lead male character, by the way. We were just talking at the beginning of the show how Robyn does entertainment reporting for us as well as sports reporting. Let's talk a little bit about both right now. Last time you were with us, we kind of touched on you were covering the Devil Rays for the radio station, WIBQ. And now you've done a little hockey, and you're going to continue that through this season. How do you like that? Not too many women, I should notice, doing it. I know. There was more women in baseball, actually. I'm noticing we are the minority at the hockey center and at the Lightning. There's only been one or two of us that have been reporting from the Lightning, which is a little intimidating at times, but it's fun. But you cannot step on the logo. Don't step on the logo. Don't step on that logo. If you go to the Lightning games, there's a big logo in the locker room carpet on the floor in the middle. And the first thing they told us when we walked in, I had heard about this before. Dave Andrechuk, the former captain of the Lightning, was kind of the policeman of that. Any reporter who stepped on it, or any player who stepped on it, that wasn't actually a member, not a member of the team, would hear about it. The PR guy came up to us and said, "Don't step on the logo." Now, I don't know what happens if you do. I know, it's a superstition. They have a lot of little things that you're not supposed to do involved with hockey. Hockey's a very superstitious sport. They are. And the players